Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm once again back with you all for your biology online class. I was taking up lesson number 8, that is health and hygiene. Let's quickly revise what all we had done in the last lecture. Sodium, that is an important mineral for your fitness, that is for keeping your body fit. That is, it generally, its involvement is in maintenance of healthy functioning of the nerves, and its deficiency causes muscular cramps and fatigue. I told you muscular cramps are spasmodic contractions in your muscles, which could be anywhere, and because of that pain also occurs and there is restriction to the movement. And fatigue means a feeling of tiredness, that you feel tired. Rich sources are table salt and seafood. Sulfur is also important nutrient, important for keeping the body fit. That is also it helps in the formation of proteins, and its deficiency is seen in the unhealthy hair and nails. That is, hair and nails both are affected, appear to be unhealthy and brittle. Nails appear to be brittle, and hair also looks quite rough in texture. There is hair loss. Apart from this, the memory loss, gastrointestinal issues, and it can, in severe cases of deficiency of sulfur, may also contribute to obesity, the increase in the weight, and also affect the heart. Then I had told you about the degenerative diseases. So degenerative diseases are caused due to deterioration in the structure and functioning of organs, that is away from being normal. That is, they are not, the structure becomes abnormal, it is affected some way or the other, and as a result of which the functioning of that particular part is also affected. Generally these diseases occur with advancing age, but that is not the only limiting factor. The other factors which can be, just because of the lifestyle, these diseases can occur at an early age also, at a young age also, that is just because of the lifestyle and excessive stress. So such degenerative diseases are, examples are cataract, arthritis, and arteriosclerosis. Cataract, I told you that the eye lens turns opaque and it may cause blindness, and it should be treated as early as possible. Arthritis, it is the inflammation and stiffness of the joints, and just because of this the movement of that particular joint becomes painful, and the most effective treatment of the disease is exercise, and really physiotherapy and healthy lifestyle. Then arteriosclerosis, the inner lining of the arteries become thick and hard due to what? Just because of the deposition of the cholesterol or fat, and just because of this the blood flow is reduced, and the blood flows with high pressure, as a result of which blood pressure increases, and this condition is called as hypertension. Then the genetic diseases or the hereditary diseases, these diseases are passed down from one generation to another, that is from the parents to the offspring, and include diseases like hemophilia and thalassemia. So hemophilia, in this disease the clotting of blood takes place very slowly, and just because few factors which are involved in the process of clotting, that is a process which is responsible for stopping the blood flow, and there are certain factors which are responsible, they are present in the body and they are responsible for the process of clotting, and the hemophilic person is lacking these factors, some of these factors, as a result of which the bleeding does not stop easily. And when the bleeding does not stop easily, such people or such patients have to be given those factors externally, they have to be given injected, these factors have to be injected into the body, otherwise a person may bleed to death from a cut or a wound. Then thalassemia. So thalassemia, Here the hemoglobin of RBCs is defective. We know the hemoglobin is the red colored pigment in our body that is responsible for giving blood the red color and is responsible for carrying oxygen throughout the body. That is oxygen responsible for oxygen transport, and this hemoglobin is defective, and as a result of which the child suffers from the disease. The person who is suffering from this disease has to be given transfusion very frequently. Is that clear? The body does not synthesize hemoglobin. Normally there is some problem in the synthesis of the hemoglobin. As a result, a person is always anemic and has to be given blood transfusion very frequently. Then cancer is an abnormal and uncontrolled growth of cells, and which involves the adjacent tissues and even distant organs, and eventual death of the affected patient if the tumor or the cancer has progressed to the stage where it cannot be treated. So this cancer can develop in any part of the body: lung, kidney, breast, skin, anywhere. And blood cancer and cancer of the mouth and throat are very common, and this is generally due to overexposure to ultraviolet rays, tobacco chewing, smoking, and contact with certain chemicals. And it is a deadly disease but can be cured when detected at an early stage. So it is curable, and we should not lose hope once it is detected. The treatment, if taken timely, a person gets cured. Then allergy, that is, an allergy is an overreaction of the immune system to a substance that harmless to most people. But when some people are allergic to it, that means there is an overreaction of that particular substance. When they are exposed to dust or pollen, they start sneezing. That is, show any signs which are peculiar to that person only. It may be in the form of sneezing, breathing, vomiting, or nausea. So the hypersensitivity of a person to certain foreign substances like dust and pollens is called as allergy, and substances that cause allergy, they are called as allergens. So these allergens may include foods, drugs, cosmetics, pollens, perfumes, etc. So the unfavorable response of the body to certain foreign substances or allergen, this is called as an allergic reaction. So example of these allergic reaction may be asthma or asthma and eczema. So this asthma is defined as it is one of the most common diseases nowadays, just because of the increasing pollution. So it is one of the most common diseases, and it is defined as a chronic inflammation of the lungs airways that is characterized by increased responsiveness of the trachea and the bronchial tree to a multiplicity of stimuli. That is, stimuli can be in the form of any pollutant or any food, any drug, any cosmetic, anything. So it is caused by allergy to pollens and dust generally, and it causes breathing difficulties. A person has problem in breathing and there is breathlessness. Eczema, it is the allergic reaction of the body. So it is the allergic reaction of the skin and can take place anywhere, any part of the body. Then the hormonal diseases, diseases that are caused due to less or over secretion of hormones in the body, they are called as hormonal diseases, and we have already discussed about them. And one such disease is goiter. That is because of the less secretion of thyroxine from the thyroid gland, causes an enlarged thyroid gland, that is a swelling in the thyroid gland, and this is known as goiter. Apart from this, there is less or no secretion of the insulin hormone, which is secreted by what part? By the pancreas. It causes a condition which is known as diabetes. So let's move on to the exercise on page number 93. Exercise 8, take the correct option. The disease caused due to deficiency of protein, carbohydrate and fat in the diet is called as kwashiorkor, marasmus, scurvy or goiter. Kwashiorkor is caused by the deficiency of protein in the diet, and marasmus is caused by the deficiency of protein, carbohydrate, and fat in the diet. So it is marasmus. Page number 94, that is, which of the following is caused due to deficiency of B3? It is pellagra, dermatitis, night blindness, both A and B. Night blindness is caused due to deficiency of vitamin A in the body. It is both A and B, that is pellagra and dermatitis. Then rickets and osteoporosis are caused due to deficiency of iron, iodine, calcium, and potassium. Right? It is caused due to a deficiency of calcium. Deficiency of iron causes anemia, goiter, beriberi, or marasmus. It is anemia. The disease characterized by abnormal and uncontrolled growth of cell in any part of the body is, yes, it is cancer. Fill in the blanks. Exercise B. Blank is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. It is health. Any change in the normal state of the body that causes discomfort or affects the health of a person is called as disease. Diseases that do not spread from a diseased person to a healthy person are called as non-communicable diseases. And diseases that spread from a diseased person to a healthy person are called as communicable diseases. Please try to complete, match the following. Then we'll start with communicable diseases today. So I have already told you that diseases that spread from one person to another are called as communicable diseases, and they are also called as infectious diseases. And the disease causing organisms are called, or disease causing microorganisms are called as pathogens. And these diseases are caused by microorganisms, that is, the organisms which cannot be seen with our naked eyes and can be just observed under the microscope. So these disease causing organisms are known as pathogens. And how do they enter our body? They enter our body through various sources, which could be air, it could be water, food, physical contact, and insects. So it can enter from anywhere, that is from air while we are talking to each other, or somebody sneezes or starts coughing in front of us, the infection is spread through the air. Then it could be just because of the biting of any insect. It can be just through food that we have eaten, could be contaminated with a particular microorganism or water, or by physical contact, shaking hands with each other. And how these communicable diseases spread? They may spread by these sources, and the way in which they may spread is by direct contact with an infected person, or many diseases spread through indirect contact also. That is, there are direct contact with an infected person and or indirect contact, which could be touching and sharing things, or through the air we breathe and through contaminated food and water. So it could be just by touching, that is, you're shaking your hand, or by using the articles that have been used previously by the infected person, or combs, that is combs and utensils, handkerchief, towels, sharing with an infected person. So example of such diseases are ringworm, eye infection, and chickenpox. They are spread in this way. Then other example or other way in which it can be spread indirectly is through the air we breathe. You can see this is an infected person, and when he is sneezing or coughing, this is the droplets come out of his mouth and nose, and they are spread in the air. And then when a healthy person comes in contact with these droplets, which are carrying the microorganism of that particular disease, the healthy person also gets infected. So this is known as droplet infection. So this happens generally when a person is suffering from common cold, means coughing and sneezing. These fine droplets of moisture are thrown out, and they are carrying thousands of virus, that is in common cold also and flu. These droplets contain virus, and the disease is spread to the, or infection is spread to the healthy person who inhales the contaminated air. So the examples of such diseases are mumps, common cold, tuberculosis, pneumonia. These diseases are spread through air. Then third way is through the spread through contaminated food and water. When fruits and vegetables are not washed with clean water, they become contaminated. That is, you can see over here, if they are not properly washed, if you observe them under a microscope, then you will see that they contain many germs which are a source of various infections. So they should be properly washed before consuming. Even when the food is not cooked or stored properly, it also becomes contaminated. That is why we should avoid junk food, or we should avoid food which is stale. And even when a person drinks contaminated water, then he or she becomes infected. You can see the water supply here. A person is using this tank for storing water, which he will use for cooking and drinking, and this has been contaminated by the sewage, underground sewage system, and which opens into the same thing. It has been contaminated. There has been leakage over here, and it has become contaminated, and the same water has been used by the person for cooking and drinking. So this is also containing microorganism and is a source of various diseases. So diseases like jaundice and even cholera are spread in this way only. The water is contaminated. Then the next way in which the diseases can spread indirectly are through vectors. Now, what is a vector? It is an animal that carries the pathogen. Pathogens are what? Disease causing microorganism. So there are certain animals which are responsible for carrying these pathogens. They are known as vectors. For example, in this diagram you can see that here this insect is a vector. How? He bites this insect, it bites an infected person, and when it bites an infected person, it has sucked the blood of an infected person. Now this mosquito or this insect is a vector, that it is carrying the microorganism of a particular disease. Now the same insect bites another uninfected human, so it becomes an infected mosquito and disease vector. Is that clear? That this is how insects, which could be the source of various diseases, are called as vectors. Apart from the insects, there are certain other organisms or animals which can act as vectors. Now similarly, a housefly sits on dirty objects and places. What does it do? It carries germs from there, and this housefly again sit on the food that are sold in open, or they are kept open. Then where do the germs which are there in the wings and in the feet of the housefly go? They are deposited on the food. As a result of this the food becomes contaminated, and when a healthy person eats this contaminated food, then he or she becomes sick. So I am talking about the vectors, which could be various mosquitoes, like for example Anopheles, which is a source of malaria, or which is a vector for malaria. Then Culex is a vector for filariasis. Then Aedes is the vector for yellow fever and dengue and chikungunya. So it could be mosquitoes, could be flies, louse, or even rat flea. These are the vectors for various diseases. Now this is an example of these are the diagrams of the mosquitoes which are causing the vector borne diseases, or they are the vectors for various diseases. For example, Culex torsalis is the vector for encephalitis. Then Culex pepain, that is another species of Culex mosquito only, and it causes filaria. Then Aedes aegypti, aegypti is the vector for yellow fever, dengue fever, and chikungunya. And similarly, there are flies like house flies, sand flies, tsetse fly. They also they cause typhoid, cholera, diarrhea, and dysentery. Then louse is responsible for causing epidemic typhus, and rat flea causes bubonic plague. This mode of transmission basically involves droplet infection, which can carry the droplets of that Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and even coughing and sneezing increases the number of these droplets in the air, and the healthy people who are around such infected people, they are prone to this infection. And even the ventilation of the environment influences the transmission of the infection. What are the symptoms? Are fever, cough, pain in chest, and then there is blood in sputum, that is the cough which comes out while you are coughing, the mucus that comes out, which is called as phlegm or sputum. There is persistent cough, there is weight loss, and there is pain in the chest because of this coughing, and even night sweats are there. So these are the symptoms of tuberculosis. The treatment or the prevention of this is to avoid contact with an infected person, and we should cover our mouth while sneezing or coughing. And the vaccination for this is BCG, which is a vaccine. Then we should stay in a ventilated room which receives proper amount of sunlight, and there is proper ventilation. So these are the ways with which we can prevent the occurrence of this disease. This is all for today. Allah Hafiz.